if you want to fix a system that is broken, if you don't take care of this problem that is growing, either you inflate, you default, or option 3 and 4, find a villain, or just revalue gold. It's the least painful of all of the options. And I would just simply say, you put gold at $150,000 an ounce, that is how it would give us, I think, an advantage.
Could a simple move by the US government completely reshape the global financial system? Andy Schectman says yes, and it all hinges on the revaluation of gold. As countries like China and Russia look to ditch the US dollar, there's one bold strategy that could keep America on top. But can the US beat the BRICS nations to the punch and prevent a financial shift of epic proportions? So, what's next? Will the US revalue its gold and avoid a financial disaster, or will it fall behind in the New World Order? Stay tuned as Andy reveals a game-changing idea that could save the dollar and the global economy from collapse.
I think that it's about managing expectations. I think that all of these things are going to happen, including everything he said. Does it happen next week? Maybe, maybe not. But the trend is in motion. And it seems to me that the BRICS understand just giving just enough information is enough for them, rather than being fully transparent about everything until they are at a place in every single metric to be able to flip the switch and say, here's what it is. So I think we'll have greater clarity. We'll have greater clarity on who and how many countries have formally applied. I think they will broach the subject of a common settlement currency, and they will talk about that. I think that we'll see things that will add clarity, but I don't think perhaps that there'll be anything completely and totally defining. And if there is, I'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't expect them to come out and say, yes, we're going to issue the unit currency, 100% here it goes. But I do think they'll say we have gone to great lengths to come to a conclusion that a new common settlement currency is called for. We've done great work on its development. We will continue to work on it with the intention of implementing it very soon. To me, that's more probable than giving us a concrete pathway to what's coming. But clarity would be my guess, and maybe something more. But to rely on that and be upset if it doesn't happen, you end up turning away from what's really important and not acknowledging the progression that continues each year and each month and each day. And that part is undeniable. So whether or not we get concrete answers or just some clarity, I guess, is debatable. And I would just simply say everything Jim said last year will happen. Does it happen this year? Don't know, but it's going to happen. That I do believe. It needs to be higher in terms of its dollar price, for sure. I mean, and we've had the head of the Dutch National Bank talk about this for quite some time. And ironically, in fact, you can't make it up, Michelle, gold is held on central bank balance sheets and accounts called the gold revaluation account. And, the head of the Dutch National Bank says, look, we got all this money in the revaluation account that we currently cannot offset against our liabilities, but why don't we revalue the price of gold and do just that? Because in Europe, gold is on everyone's balance sheet at $35 an ounce. In the U.S., it's $42.22. I would guess they valued it last and did some legal declaration sometime in the early 70s, right after they set it free from its $35 an ounce price. But that is what it is on the books of the U.S. government. And, it makes a lot of sense, actually. And we saw that with Roosevelt over my shoulder there. That's what he did. He confiscated gold, he revalued it, and by 40% by depreciating the dollar. As crazy as that sounds, your balance sheet now is pristine, goes from putrid to pristine like that. And who's to say we couldn't do it? We'll just tell every country on the planet, send us your gold, we'll buy it. We'll pay $150,000 an ounce for it. That is what it is. I mean, in China right now, silver's $4 an ounce higher than it is in the West. That is what it is if you can deliver it there. My point is, if they did that, and they did that, it would behoove who? Well, all the central banks. They're the ones buying it all. And if it is indeed going to be part of a new system, and we're trying to put all of these systems together, a common system, as we were talking about, wouldn't it benefit the common system if it's all going to be tied to gold and blockchain? Then it would benefit everyone. And now you not only have a balance sheet where all of your money is not going to exponentially increasing interest payments, but instead to maybe trying to pay down the debt. Yes, it creates inflation, but it will never come back down at that point. That's why guys like Jim Sinclair, God rest his soul, always said, gold will go to a level no one thinks possible, and it will be pegged to a new system and never come down. I mean, I think that is what will happen. I think it's too hard to ignore. You know, Richard Russell always said, inflate or default. That's all the Fed can do. For the last 4 years, I said, find a villain. Xi Jinping and and Putin and OPEC, they did it to us. And they incentivizing them to dump the dollar as the reserve currency. We've talked about what that looks like. But how about option 4? Just simply revalue the gold holdings if they really are there, the 8,330 metric tons that haven't been audited forever, and revalue it to a level that then makes our balance sheet balanced with, you know, the liabilities with our now higher asset level, and it's a different game. Could that happen? I think if Trump beats him to the punch, if Trump were elected and they beat him to the punch, beat the West, the East, or the South rather, the BRICS to the punch of currency revaluation and tying it to gold, that is how it would give us, I think, an advantage. It would give us, it would neutralize perhaps much of the world's desire to move away if indeed we showed, here's the new deal. We realize we've made a mistake. We realize we've kind of squandered the good graces of our foreign creditors, and we're going to make up for that by going this way because we've gone too far down the line to really pay it off. So we're going to revalue gold. We're going to honor that price. We're going to peg it to a new system, and it will be transparent for everyone to see. These transgressions will never happen again. Would it work? Yeah, I think it would forestall a lot of, you know, the ugliness that could happen as a result of the BRICS doing this first. Well, I mean, might be some pushback, of course, but if we're willing to pay anyone who wants to sell us gold at 120,000 an ounce, isn't that what it really is at? I mean, to me, it is. How did Roosevelt do it in 33 when gold was $20 an ounce and then all of a sudden he devalued the dollar and now gold is $35 an ounce? That's a 40% revision. It is what it is. That's what we'll pay you for it. So if the central banks of the world have the ability to offload all of their gold to the Fed, and we'll pay them $1,200 or $1,300 or whatever the number is, or excuse me, 120,000, 130,000, 150,000. It's a new system. Who knows? Maybe no one. Maybe, I mean, any gold that is out there, the arbitrage would send it that way over time. And maybe it's a new system that the West is saying, look, here's our new system. It's pegged to gold. It will be immutable. It is. We will not denigrate the system the way that we've done before. You would get tons of arbitrage. You would have a lot of players that would send their gold just to make that spread, and it would just happen. And I think it would benefit all of the world's central banks to a degree. You're going to get inflation. You're going to get pushback. But nonetheless, I mean, I think it is highly probable. It is highly probable because immediately it offsets all of the balance sheets of all of the indebted countries. And if you realize that all of the central banks are buying gold and bringing it home, in one way or the other, it benefits all of them. So, look, it's a Hail Mary pass, but either that or inflate or default, or go back to option 3 and just make everyone have no reason to hold our currency, to hold our treasuries, and dump it and watch what happens. Either way, you're going to get to the same point. If you don't take care of this problem that is growing, either you inflate, you default, or option 3 and 4, find a villain, or just revalue gold. And I think they can do that. It's the least painful of all of the options. And you know, if that's what they're willing to pay, anyone that's willing to sell us their gold, then that is what the price is. Guys like Alistair McLeod will tell you that he believes that China has 5 times that amount, over 40,000 metric tons, that they produce over, you know, between 300 and 500 metric tons per year, every year, that they are the largest producers and accumulators on the planet and not forthright about how much that they actually own. So again, who knows? Fort Knox hasn't been audited since, I think, 1953. But where did Saddam Hussein's gold go? Where did Gaddafi's gold go? Where did the $12 billion that the Ukraine sold to fund the war, where did that go? Where is all of that gold? Why are we not open about it? Why isn't China open about it? And if you think about it, if indeed all of the nations knew that gold was going to be revalued, the last thing they would ever want to do is be candid about what they're buying and how much they buy. It's just like Saudi Arabia buying 160 metric tons and not acknowledging it until they were caught by the import-export numbers.
Right.
They're all doing this. It's China flying around Latin America and buying up doré and concentrate from the miners, as I've been told on multiple occasions from other mining executives, paying far more than the West will pay and bringing it home to refine it. Or the People's Liberation Army, when they buy it, It's not reported to the IMF the way it is when the PBOC buys it. There's a million ways around accumulating gold without being open about it. And I think that's indeed what they're all doing, because it doesn't behoove any of them to be open about it until they pull back the curtain and say, here's what we have. And so, look, a lot of this is supposition. I'll give you that. But a lot of it is also rooted in fact and common sense. And so if you want to fix a system that is broken, you can hyperinflate, you can default. Yeah. And if this is an option that allows them the least painful way out, which also benefits a new system, a much higher gold price pegged, to me, it just makes sense.
The future of the dollar and the global economy hangs in the balance. As Andy Schectman has shown, the revaluation of gold could be America's last chance to maintain its financial dominance. But will the U.S. act in time? If you found this discussion insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the latest in global economics and precious metals. Don't miss out on what's coming next. Thank you.